Hi, everyone. It's our pleasure to welcome you for the first session of the Social Innovation and Global Ethics Forum 2022. And we are very pleased to go and tackle the plenary session dedicated to business as usual, eco-value creation. So this session is really to look at the evolution in the private sector and many aspects of civil society on the progress we are doing into integrating climate change, into sustainability, CSR, and women empowerment, diversity, all what are the driving force of progress. And we are very pleased to be welcome into a full women empowerment panel today. And I will start to introduce our three inspiring speakers, and the first one being Marlene Harnois. So Marlene, thank you for joining us today. Marlene is Olympic medalist, 2 times Taekwondo European champion, Knight of the Order of Merit decorated by the President of France, champion for peace representing peace and sport organization, and MBA graduate for the International University of Monaco. Marlene is definitely what we call a change maker, a champion to inspire through different endeavors on how society, private sectors, institutions are going, to be able to progress toward the 2030 agenda and the many aspects. Let me introduce as well now our second speaker with Eva Lowe. Eva, it's a pleasure to have you with us. Eva is, as I just mentioned earlier, Eva is a masterpiece of progress for finance, finance for good. And Eva is managing multiple mandates in single family offices. She is, the force for progress into channeling funding to impact projects, and as well supporting, mitigating, climate change aspect. She is as well the chairman, founder and chairman of the Association of the Family Offices in Asia, and supportive in many aspects of finance for good internationally. Eva, thank you for joining us. And I'm going now to as well introduce Dr. Rania Azmi. Rania, it's a pleasure to have you with us after your participation of the Women's Forum first edition we did. So Rania is definitely in the GCC region, the key stakeholder, the key champion for women empowerment. She has more than 22 years of experience in management and investment decision making, strategic advisor of one of the world's largest sovereign wealth funds, and the consultant and certified trainer with international finance corporations, part of the World Bank and the United Nations Industrial Development Organizations. Dr. Rania, and Rania for the intimate, is really a figure for women empowerment and progress in the GCC region and beyond. So thank you all for joining us today. And I will start with Marlene. So Marlene, first of all, could you share with us what is the inspiration behind your journey that brought you from Olympic medalist to being champion for peace and sport organization, or founder of Caravan for Peace, among many other philanthropic initiatives that you are supporting?
Well, being an Olympic medalist in Taekwondo, it's a martial art. So I've practiced this all my life, and it really fosters positive values of respect, solidarity, and sharing and giving back has always been an important element of martial arts. So while I was standing on the podium at the Olympics, I really wanted to use my victory for good, to have a positive impact and to share among younger generations. So I first got involved with associations in France. I was doing hospital visits every month. I was also promoting a youth philosophy program. But I had always dreamed of experiencing humanitarian actions. And so when I retired, I went to West Africa to use sport as a tool for development and contribute to its development in emerging countries. So I started leading actions, visiting schools, and then I met two young prodigies, a little girl and a boy. They were 18 and 19 at the time. And as soon as I saw them, it hit me. I said, oh, they have the potential to become Olympic champions. And everybody told me, well, Ivory Coast had never had a gold medal in history. So I was like, okay, well, that could be a fun challenge. Let's try it. So I built a foundation in Abidjan, and I've mentored them for 3 years until the Rio Olympic Games, which were the following games. And the boy, Chesnais, became the first Olympic gold champion in the history of the country. And the same day, the girl, Babi, became the first Olympic woman medalist in the country. And their victory had such a powerful impact amongst the country. It united the country, and it's a country that's been affected by civil wars, many ethical conflicts. And I realized, Nelson Mandela used to say that sport has the power to change the world, has the power to unite. And their victory really made me realize how sport could be powerful. And then I decided to launch with them the Caravan for Peace. So the idea was to gather NGOs, champions, political figures, and to tour in the country and to support local sustainable initiatives, such as we inaugurated water fountains near sport fields, or we would have sporting events to gather populations, and then we would have medical supplies, we would have screening tests that are conducted at the same time. And following all those actions, I became involved with the Peace and Sport organization that's placed under the high patronage of the Prince, and that's based here in Monaco. And I will further explain the actions we lead.
Well, Marlene, my first comment is wow. It's to be able, to put your own journey, at the service of uniting citizens, communities in Africa, putting yourself at the service of new talents. I think this is really, the great vision of social progress. So thank you for sharing, that huge achievement, and we will look for going, more deeper into that in few minutes. Coming back to Eva. Eva, you are not following the orthodox path of finance. I'm as well, like an anomaly, like you. Where did the inspiration started for you to decide to put your talents and financial expertise, investment expertise at the service of sustainability and, generally speaking, at the service of the 2030 agenda of the UN? Where does it come from, and where do you want it to go?
Yeah. Actually, I think that's what's about 10 years ago when I was still a banker. And at that moment, actually, I fly frequently to China and meeting a lot of the entrepreneurs there. And by chance, I met a lady, who is the wealth owner, but she delegate a lot of her time and effort just to do a lot of initiative regarding reforestation, just to remember her son. And then I find what she did. It's very meaningful. It create a lot of benefits to the environment, and also giving her some more energy. So then her works inspired me. So after I left the bank, then I also want to do something that I can manage, that is still finance, but at the same time I also want to start engaging with more people that doing a lot of project. It may not be related to business, but it's doing something good for other. So I then established some other organization or a community circle, like some other social foundation. And then I try to leverage my network, which we have so many wealth owners who are very generous. So we try to secure some financial support from these wealth owner. So I was then very delegate my energy working into these kind of social initiative. And then at the same time, I'm finding the AFO, that is my core platform right now. And in that core platform, we see many family business in Asia. Actually, they also want to do something good. And their owner or the next gen care about a lot of herd agenda. So we want to gather these people with good hearts to do something, and then we want to provide them with their related resources and supporting them. So why AFO want to use sustainability as the ribbon to help this family business and to prepare the next gen become the leader and the future. We say the future's leader in our Asian world. So that would be why I then turn my career path a little bit away from the traditional finance, which I was in my earlier career stage as a pension fund manager. But right now, I'm more in these kind of community building or club deal facilitation, this kind of work. But we really want to channel the capital for social good or environmental good. So that's what we are doing right now.
Eva, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I know how difficult it is, like to shape um, someone's own way and own path, and to open, paths. So we really feel that finance is evolving toward more conscious finance and impact finance. So you are really, like a source of inspiration for what you do, like in Asia. And I'm very grateful that you join us today, and you continue your mission. And I'm sure we will find many, like ways to connect, like Asia and Europe and Africa and Latin America and North America to build partnerships. So I think this is beautiful. Now to join, with Rania. So Rania, you have been as well designated a woman of influence by the Women Speaker Association, one of the brightest 40 under 40 person. You are involved into, like your own NGO for health and fighting, like very, severe illness. I will not mention in the forum, but you really, put yourself at the service. You have been, like speaking and sharing your vision in more than 70 countries. So that's really like special. So what could you share with us about where does your inspiration came from, and what's your vision to put yourself at the service of so many, like different aspects of women empowerment, and as well, like more globally social progress from, like your experience as a thought leader.
Well, thank you for the very kind introduction, and wonderful to hear the other panelists. And let me first start by commending you in putting together this impressive forum, especially when it's related. Many of the sessions really in parallel with the Sustainable Development Goals. One of the things, maybe it's in my LinkedIn profile as opposed to my bio, that I participated a few years back in the global consultation for trying to provide consultation on the Millennium Development Goals and what went wrong in terms of measuring the progress that later on became Sustainable Development Goals. So that was obviously prior to 2015. And it was related to women empowerment. So the reason I'm bringing this to your attention, that being in this session about eco value added, where did I get my inspiration? I would say it's a journey. And we tend to think in silos as we grow older. There is a dedicated organization or NGO for providing the greater good for the society or for the community, and I have my career, and I have like my personal space or professional space. But I have to say, without any naivety or exaggeration, that now ecosystem, eco-thinking, value creation without hurting the Mother Earth is not a cliche. It's not theoretical anymore. It's not a luxury. We cannot afford it. We really need to act in every aspect that wouldn't hurt us humans and any creature living with us and the Mother Earth. And I got many inspirations throughout my journey, graduating, working, volunteering, furthering my profession. Many great examples, people, situations, causes that go beyond yourself. So I think there have, many crises we faced in the last, I would say 10, 15 years that we didn't see in the prior, or our older generation didn't see in the prior 50 years. The things are very accelerating, fast-paced, from the financial crisis to COVID, and now we are in a brink of a war. Things are becoming, I hate to say, nasty. You have the political observers talking about certain trends or strategic trends, the financial, the environmental. We really need to synergize because it's really what we do to Earth is not sustainable. And I have to say, besides my work in health care awareness, I also in my profession, I was keen to have something sustainable, and it was not only that's what I'm trying to hint at. Doing good is not mutually exclusive to making money. We can make money decently and being responsible at the same time. And let's remember, anything related to the infrastructure and innovation and industrialization, if it's not done to be inclusive for everyone, there will not be any sustained results in terms of educating and taking care of the health of the people. Which, by the way, if you look back in any crisis, was the main problem for any government or for any institution. COVID was a huge problem because of the stress on the healthcare system. All what the governments cared about is the ICU units, if they would sustain the number of cases going to the hospital, and every effort done 2 years ago until now just to decrease the number that will be critically ill, right? So if we are taking care of the health, boosting the immune system, and that's a different story related to my healthcare awareness, but similar story for the industrial world. If we are taking care of cutting on waste, increasing productivity, and this is not, again, theoretical thing. I'm involved myself with a South African-based organization, putting Kaizen, lean, and productivity management in action. And that makes sure that you have productivity which is responsible. And at the very least, cutting on waste. Even if you can afford it financially, we cannot afford it in terms of environmental sustainability. And we need to come up with a terminology that goes beyond environmental, because everyone, when they hear about environmental, especially in the investment space, okay, that's very specialized, and they think about the timberland and things related to agriculture. But it's really, I would say, the earth, the Mother Earth. Everything we need to do should be responsible. And I hope I answered your question by that. It's just very inspirational, our theme and the discussions we have. I'll stop here.
Rania, thank you so much. It's a pleasure, to see how you are deploying, your talent at the service of making things move in the right direction. So thank you for that. And as you say, what is inspiring is being able at the same time to be an entrepreneur, to be, a volunteer action, sharing knowledge and building up, in the multi, factorial aspect. So this is maybe part of the equation of the future is like we should be less linear, and we should be more, like maybe sinusoidal, like to express, like a wider spectrum of frequencies, which are not only, like materialistic, but as well that can maybe include a dimension of spirituality, consciousness, and bringing those dimensions to the aspect of the private sectors and finance and economy and society. So that's what I hear from you, and I thank you for that. Now we go back to Marlene. Marlene, so we are seeing with the 2030 agenda of the UN the rise of consciousness globally, CSR and ESG practices within the private sector and more broadly with society. What are the opportunities and challenges that you are contemplating in that regard, and what will be your recommendation to favor such progressive behaviors aiming at building a more harmonious society?
Well, in terms of opportunity, I believe that sport is a great tool for CSR because it's universal. It promotes positive values, inclusion, gender equity, health. It can also contribute to build peaceful communities across the globe. In terms of challenges, one of the biggest one is to raise awareness on the federating power of sport and all its benefits in line to the UN agenda for 2030, because it's too often seen as performance-driven only. People see sport either as entertainment, performance, tournaments, but they don't see the educational side of it. They don't see the transmission of values through sport, how it gathers, how it federates, how it improves health, all the other ways we can use sport and all its benefits. And also the other challenge is in a world full of priority with climate change, pandemics, topics like or air fields like environment, education, and health are always or too often prioritized. And therefore it makes it harder to convince companies or actors of the importance to use sport as a tool for development and peace. Another challenge we face is often, and it's been a big challenge within our organization and within sport development programs in general, more broadly, is how do we measure the impact of our field programs? So this has been a big challenge as well. And finally, in terms of recommendation, I believe it would be important to involve sponsors. So let's say if there's a sporting event, it would be important to involve those sponsors to also implement CSR policies and engage with local associations in parallel to have a positive impact on local communities.
Thank you so much, Marlene. Just a follow-up question on that. When you have traveled, like extensively, like for instance in Africa, when you see through the initiatives what's happening with the new generation, what's the energy? How do you think this can be a material, like a moment in the development of their life? What's your perception of that you live? Like as a champion, as a woman, as a thought leader and change maker.
The perception in terms of CSR, in terms of the impact it has on the
in terms of the human energy for those young population that you meet on the ground.
It changes lives around. Sometimes we too often underestimate the positive impact it can have on the beneficiaries of our program, but it can change lives around. Just to feel supported, to feel surrounded, to evolve in a positive environment with peace building, how it brings communities together. For instance, we have a running program in the Great Lake region in Africa, where we take children from Burundi, DRC Congo, and Rwanda, which had conflicts and genocide. And we developed, I'll further explain, but we developed a program where we have a methodology, and all those children come together. And then years after years, then it's starting to change mentality. and it's building more peaceful communities. It's building, and then they can only be development if there's peace. So it all goes together.
Thank you, Marlene, for what you are doing. Eva, same element. What are the opportunities you see for stakeholders to embrace what you are advocating, and the recommendations that you can formulate for other players to join forces with your initiatives, and maybe as well just a quick highlight on the challenges that you see that you would like to be alleviated by good practices.
Yeah. To me, I think we really want to promote about the futurist leadership concept, and we think futurists should be the responsible leader. A futurist aim is to encourage leadership on all levels. So that's what we want to promote. That is, we want to help people to think in a very rich and structured about tomorrow in order to act for now. And futurists are involved in sense making. Giving people the ability to deal with information. So everyone, I think, is overwhelmed by the infinitive of signal right now. So futurists can help people to open their mind and to think more broadly, to be more open to different ideas, and also to um, stimulate and provoke to taking meaningful action. So we want AFO, be more involved to support family office. And also to help the bested family and also their organization, their business corporate that are gifted with resources who can make impactful future. So responsible leader in these affluent families and leading organizations across different sector or industry. They may have very unique mission, but all have a common goal to create a better future that matter to them, also matter to their family, to their organizations, and to all stakeholder who engage with them. And then AFO and our futurists, or for example, our co-investor forum today, we want to actually organize our activities that can really gather these leaders and then provide new way of thinking and help these leaders to transcend boundary and to think forward and in turns act better today. So we hope that our activities and our program can provide guidance on putting strategic foresight into practice. And we believe the future doesn't just happen. We all contribute a part. So we need to shape it every day. So be responsible should not be a slogan. It should be an attitude for living, for running the business, and for investment, for investing to craft a better world. So that's our idea, and really want to create a circle to stimulate the people around us, and then to think in that way. Yeah, that's what we are doing right now.
Thank you, Eva. Would you say that actually for all those successful families, represented by family offices and different professionals, would you say that actually this is the best way for longevity of what has been achieved for them, for the new generation, the second generation, to embrace this type of movement and initiatives and a responsible, like investment approach, responsible behavior approach, or responsible, like investment toward more sustainable initiative and project?
Yeah, I think so. Actually, right now we more engaged with the next gens, and actually they are already taking the leadership positions in the Asian business right now. Even though we still patriarch, still holding important position, but at least majority of the next gen has already in the positions that they can really make the change. So we actively engage with these next gens right now, and I see they are not just thinking about investment. They are also very creative in thinking how they can make some transformation within their own business, so that and they can in a better way that they can create more impactful result for the society or for the stakeholder that they are facing.
Thank you, Eva. Thank you very much for sharing your vision and actions and recommendations. Rania, what would you say, like for spreading the inspiration that you are, like animated to the different stakeholders in the GCC regions and beyond, to encourage attitude of empowerment, recommendation of sustainability in the choices and priorities of building initiatives and projects that are, like connected to civil society and functioning of government states and development as a general perspective, and as well, what could you share with us in terms of maybe the challenges that you can see and how you would approach it to make them, like a memory and something which will no longer prevent the vision that we are talking about to materialize in people's life?
Well, that's a very key issue, and I would share two main points. They can provide opportunities, but at the same time challenges. But if I may, to be interactive with my fellow panelists, I would like to comment on something Marlene mentioned, and also Eva, very important in relation to this question, actually. So Marlene mentioned like sports can be perceived compared to other issues as acceptable casualty because we're fighting like bigger causes in the minds of other, I would say, politicians or decision makers. But if we're thinking in ecosystem, it's part of the equation. It's equally important. And if I give the analogy, for example, when you build, infrastructure project, of a hotel, residential, hospital, it's not the value of the building itself, a hotel, the contribution of a hotel to the GDP of the country. It's the whole ecosystem of the new city you created, the vibes, the lifting of the standards of life and everything. So that's to Marlene's point. And Eva, it's just musical to my ears what you said. It's being conscious about earth and sustainable development and being a responsible investor is not something sexy or fashionable just in certain times of the year. It has to be a way of life. It has to be something sustainable, and we should walk the walk in that. So thank you for saying that. And of course, Jonathan, everything you say is musical to us in this panel. So back to your question, there are two things that really has been bothering me in my 22 or 23 years of career and going about in the life journey. And it's related to our industry specifically. Two things. If I start by institutional and private investors, especially family offices, how would we expect from and this is a growing larger proportion of world investments. It's controlled by private investors, high net worth individuals, and family offices around the world. Let aside the different deviations and maturity of how they operate. But how can we expect this large pool of money to be responsible, to invest in sustainable projects and be responsible towards their communities if they don't have, some of them, and I'm not generalizing, have responsibility for themselves to pass the values as equally important to wealth to the next generation, so be it second or third or fourth. I've been involved through Alexandrite decisions into family constitution and legacy projects, and it was an eye-opener that these sort of issues taken for granted and worse yet ridiculated, as opposed when compared to the core business like investing and making portfolio decisions, strategic asset allocation, and tactical. Well, it's equally important to sit and do retreats with every part of the family and make sure that they will sustain not only wealth, your values, towards your family, towards your community, toward the bigger Mother Earth, as I call it, not just environmental issues. Some are very advanced in that regard, and some still in the beginning. But it's a mentality that we need to change. For example, and this has been overspoken, if we have a physical issue with our health, we go exercising, we change our diet, and worst case scenario, we take some medicine to fix that. But if there's something wrong in our emotions or our mental health, it's taken for granted. Nothing wrong there. You don't seek a specific help or professional help. So similar analogy, it's because these are, they call it soft issues. They are not soft. They are extremely complicated because they are involved people. And with this, I will move to the second issue that in my mind is hugely important. And I think most of the governments around the world, institutions, decision makers, investors, or otherwise are suffering from, is that we overemphasize the material investment. In terms of infrastructure projects, we spend billions of US dollars on the physical aspects of infrastructures, wonderful roads, buildings, new cities, you name it. But then when it comes to nourishing human capital, to really invest equally in the social capital that will be using these infrastructure, you shy away from spending any, not only money, time or effort, or even give it some consideration in the planning to be able to equip with that. And that's a divide, a gap that everyone will pay for. This gap between physical infrastructure development and social infrastructure development, the human capital development and nourishing them, this gap between the both of them will create tension that can burst in many bad things. And I don't like to sound pessimistic, but really they need to go hand in hand to really sustain development and I fear to say, to really make achievements in sustainable development goals around the world. So that's my take.
Rania, this is big, what you share today with us. I think this vision of gap of priorities between what our societies and what we consider like normal and what we are completely, consider, accessories, even if it's rising now on some of our awareness and consciousness. Indeed, if we look at the facts and the budget, is not even decent to mention how the gap is. So I really want to commend you for putting forward that vision and analysis, on what could be the angle where we could, encourage a more rebalancing of the priorities and the investment dedicated for building this more sustainable and harmonious future. So thank you very much for that. Very inspiring. If I can go now to Marlene. Marlene, what will be the current agenda? Your current agenda. What's coming next for you? Could you share that with our audience?
Okay, so the projects are with the Peace and Sport International organization that I mentioned. That's based in Monaco. It's under the patronage of His Royal Highness Prince Albert II, and we use sport as a tool for development and peace. And we have field projects across the globe. We have in 10 countries the Peacemaker Project, and we also have an MOU with UNHCR, and we have a running program in Jordan in Zatari camp. And so what we've done is we've developed a bottom-up approach. So we've created a methodology to for the transmission of positive values to build a culture of peace. And we've developed a program with 80 sports sessions in 3 sports, in 3 languages. It's available right now. And there's different cycles, and there's different exercise. So what we do is we train locals that become the peace educators through the methodology, through the application, and then they have the positive impact in the communities. And we also have gender equity in the beneficiaries of our programs. So we have the peacemaker projects. We also have in France a program that's called Atelier Sportif. So we work with youth in socially or désinsérés, not inserted in through whether school or employment, and they do a sport program, a very intense sport program for up to 6 weeks, and it helps them get back a routine, get back to healthy lifestyle, positive value, confidence as well, and we. In addition to the sports sessions, they also learn how to speak in public, do CVs. We really use sport as a tool, but to develop a whole program and then to reinsert them either in school programs or in employment. So that's a program we have in France. And then at Peace in Sport, there's the Champion for Peace Club. So it gathers over 100 athletes, such as Didier Drogba, Sia Colisi, Paula Radcliffe, Felipe Massa, the F1 driver, and we all act together to be united on and off the field of play, and to show that sport is not only performance, but it can really be used for good.
Wow, I like very much your concluding statements. Sports, not just as performance, but as a engine for good. It's this is beautiful. This is beautiful. So Marlene, can we expect more Olympic champion? Like from your actions. Where is it going to happen?
But we're not. My next goal is not to build necessarily champions, but society champions. Good.
I like that.
Good human beings, and they're going to be the next doctors. They're going to be the next lawyers. They're going to be the next politicians. But we need to foster those proper values in them to allow them to grow in a positive environment.
We like the society champions. This is as well, like for the concluding remarks. Like I'm enjoying myself at the moment with all what you are blossoming, in terms of your vision, the 3 of you. Thank you, Marlene. Eva, same question. What's next in the life of Eva Lowe to make the world better in Asia, but beyond as well?
Yeah, I think I will, want to launch some technology solution to bring some disruption, and that disruption related to philanthropy. We hope that platform, can help, the philanthropists, NGO or social organizations to raise their money. And then, we also provide information to the stakeholder and the general public, and with very transparent information disclosure. We believe we are giving pleasure to the related manager so that they can work harder for much larger scale impact. And at the same time, we are launching some technology communication application, mainly used to engage the community for promoting the lifestyle or the attitudes, how we can actually creating a better world and doing less harm, to our Mother Earth. So for that platform, we not just doing educations, but we also open an avenue for them to understand, okay, their behavior. For example, if they do cycling or more walking, okay, then they can actually reduce some CO2 emissions. And then for these kind of work, how many, okay, they are actually reducing. So we are launching these kind of applications. It's kind of technology things. We people like technology, and for our business routine, we do a lot of engagement activity to drive awareness. I believe, okay, going forward, we will have a lot of engagement. For example, when we are dealing with SFO, actually we are right now forming the impact investing community, but we are wanting to focus some energy on certain area. So we are working on these kind of, okay, initiative with UNDP to select some impactful project, and then we want to have the attention to this particular area. And we also want to provide some active ownership education. We want to invite the authority in investment, okay, to provide some more guidance to the asset owner. But for the asset manager, because we are in the finance world, there are so many investment managers in our circle. So everyone are talking about green finance, talking about ESG. It's kind of green rush. But do they really have some good practice? If they do, we want them to share this kind of good practice. So we will have this kind of workshop for the sharing. And also when we are engaging with, okay, some other stakeholder, they will be the industry specialists. For example, those, okay, have more technical knowledge on how we can implement SDG, right? So we are working with, okay, the educational organization to launch some certification program. We want people to be very serious on sustainable development. So this is why we want to launch the certification program. One is about the sustainable finance. It's related to our finance industry, but it's not just the matter to our finance professional, but it's for all business owner, for all senior executive in all kind of industries. So for sustainable business as well. So we launch this kind of, okay, program targeting not just the finance executive, but also other non-finance people as well. We want these kind of training will make them well aware what they can do, and then to implement some more sensible program in their own organization for driving the SDG implementation. That's what we are going to do.
Eva, that's superb. Thank you so much for putting so much, concrete, like step and process and initiative forward. Thank you so much, and looking forward to continue the discussion on all those subjects. And I see the bridge between Asia and the rest of the world as a huge, promising, rainbow bridge, a bridge of hope. So thank you so much. Rania, where would we have the chance to cross you in initiative that you are supporting? Where do we have to be, to have the chance to cross your path and journey for bringing inspiration, like to the GCC and beyond?
Well, it's the GCC is or the Middle East is my base, but prior to COVID, which ended, thanks God, it's international. So yeah, we might cross paths in Monte Carlo or somewhere in Macau or even in the States. So it's I don't know where my next trip would be, but in a more broader sense, for the next initiatives, we will continue what we started in different affiliations of mine. So we will continue to nudge the industry of the importance of sustainable development in the industrial and other organizations like healthcare and different types of industries, because it started in the industrial or manufacturing facilities through the South African partner CCI Growth Common. So this is something I believe is important for everyone and relevant, and it's not commercial. It's more into because I know this in an investment. Forget about the manufacturing facilities. If I am earning 10% or 15%, I am okay with that. I don't want any change because there are other alternatives. You can earn these 15% return, but will be sustainable. So you have the extra plus social impact with the same return, or even better yet, you can have like 20% or 30%, which is tripling your returns and being equally responsible. So I see that there is a opposition to status quo, like everyone is happy with how things are used to be, but really we need to stretch our challenges, to stretch ourselves, to go from success to significance. So this is key for everyone. And also we will continue through Alexandrite to nudge the importance of nourishing human capital. So through programs that designed for junior or senior stuff that's equally important to subject matter, like things related to life skills, things that Marlene and Eva touched base on already. They are equally important and relevant for everyone, and I will still try to catalyze some change there through university programs or the consultation I'm doing, or even through training courses, any opportunity, and even through the charity or volunteering organization to developing these public campaigns to raise awareness about wellness importance, something as simple as stress management, recognizing it, and how to be resilient in any time, not only in the time of the crisis.
Rania, thank you so much. From success to significance, that's another, like key message for inspiration for our audience and myself. Thank you very much, Rania, for sharing your next steps and initiatives. We are now entering the conclusion of this panel, so I will ask each one of you in a 1 minute format to just share, if you had the opportunity to share your vision and a statement to the citizen of the world, people of our audience, and people that will be listening in replays and then on YouTube, social media. What will be your message? Marlene, we start with you.
I think that the message to the citizen is that the power lies within the consumer. So I think it's important for us also to pressure the brands, the companies, to engage more in CSR policies, to have more awareness, to be more engaged, and to lead more, to invest more in society actions and social actions.
Thank you, Marlene. Eva, what will be your message for citizens of the world?
I hope that leader can have a long-term and sustainable approach centered around very strong environmental, social, and governance principle. As the pandemic let us know that certainty is not something that we can manage. So we hope that the long-term view can have us putting together both policy and business strategies that look beyond next year to create equitable and sustainable society that will thrive over the next several decades and beyond. So long-term view is very important. I want the leader can contribute, because they are shaping the world. They have the resources to make the change.
Thank you, Eva. Thank you very much. Rania, what would be your enlightening message for our international audience and the citizens around the planet?
Sure. I would say the word, when we say personalize, like in medicine, precision medicine, or in the industrial world or investment world, we say personalize and tailor the needs of your clients and everything. I would say let's use the word humanitize, like make everything human. It's not about being personal. It just make sure that the human factor is already integrated and the highlight. And it's not going to be easy, and it's not going to be theoretical either. A similar story to the risk management in our industry. We tend to use these normal distribution, linear, very straightforward risk measurement, and then we get surprised later on, like with the financial crisis or other discrepancies like the pandemic. So it's not going to be easy to try to measure something like risk with more realistic approach, like the uncertainty, and we talked about black swan, black elephant, and even the chameleon. I shared some information about that in my journey. So similar thing for human element. It needs to be integrated, and it's not going to be easy, but it shouldn't discourage us from integrating it. So that's my message.
Thank you, Rania. Humanitize. This is, for me, you mentioned about music, you're here, but I was in a philanthropic concert with the three of you this morning. So, dear friends, thank you for your participations, listening to three, like amazing women empowered change makers, Marlene, Eva, Rania. Thank you for joining us today and sharing your vision, passion, and commitment to build through actions, through inspirations, through initiatives, through your commitment in life, so your life, basically, building this more sustainable ways and paths for people now and in the future, because we mentioned as well the dimension of generations to come. So thank you so much. And I'm addressing just now the message to our audience. We are now back into a new session in a few minutes. So thank you all for joining today, and looking forward our partnership and continuation of discussions in days, weeks, and months to come. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
All the best.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.